Welcome to Comics League Live. I'm Jared, and today I'm here with my two gentlemen. I'm here with Max, MVP Priestley. Max, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me back on, brother. It's always good seeing you guys hanging out. Feels like I'm back in my comic shop,
Of
just
course.
hanging out with the guys, and so it's a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. And I'm here with Mr. Tired Con goer himself, Nick from Phoenix Press. What's up, brother?
Hello there.
General Kenobi. You are a bold one. That's kind of our thing. So
yeah, it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for him.
So for this week, I wanted to talk about an interesting little debate that goes on in comic books. And what I mean by that, so there was a Twitter argument going down about Sam Wilson is Captain America, Sam Wilson's not Captain America, or something like that. I'm sure you guys have seen that mess. So I wanted to talk specifically about mantle swaps, because also we had Thor Love and Thunder, which I thought was going to turn into that, but it wasn't. That's one of the many problems with that movie. But besides the fact that it exists as a movie, but Max knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do.
Yeah, as a Thor fan, we were very much bleeding from that movie. So what I wanted to, what we're going to talk about tonight.
Thunder.
Oh my gosh, what we're going to talk about tonight is a lot about superhero mantle swaps, where you have like Steve going to like Bucky Barnes to Sam Wilson. Maybe why it worked more when it went from Steve to Bucky instead of Steve to Sam, or like Totally Awesome Hulk, which was a terrible idea. Or
it was not total, nor was it awesome.
It was awesomely boring, but and also
totally boring there.
And also the way not to do it, because here's the thing. I think let's start with this. I think Miles Morales is probably the example of how not to do one, because if you notice, it started off good because he was in an alternate universe. Then they decided to roll him into the main 616, and then kept Peter Parker still being Spider-Man. So there's two Spider-Men, and they make no effort to give him like a unique rogues gallery or anything like that. By the way, hello, Raul Ryan. How you doing? Go ahead, Max.
Yeah, it's odd because I really did enjoy that multiverse, not Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange, but like the Spider-Verse movie, like the animated
that
one.
Movie was good.
That was actually really like a lot of fun. I think it had great dialogue. I thought the story was well paced and everything. And the characters, like, you fell in love with these characters. So I think there are good ways to do Miles, but unfortunately, Miles should have started out as his own character. I think Miles is a strong enough character to where he doesn't necessarily really need the Spider-Man uniform. You know what I mean? Like, if they gave him similar powers and maybe like had a different suit for him and called him something different, I think he would do almost better, because he's being held back right now by Peter Parker, with no fault of his own. It's just because they chose to give him that secondary like mantle, which sucks, because like I said, Miles Morales as a character is I think cool and works and is interesting.
Yeah,
I think the problem with Miles is also like it's so weird, because in the Marvel universe, there's so many different like spider people, like Silk and all those other people, and it's like, okay, they finally got around to giving him a name, Shadow Spider, which is fine, Shadow Spider, like, okay, it's cool, but like it took you that long to come up with the obvious name, and like Miles actually has a pretty cool like power set. Like, in addition to his spider powers, he has like the invisibility, the shocking stuff, and it's like he has a cool setup. And like you, I liked the multiverse movie. It's just like there's all these different spider people, like, and the whole theme of his arc was don't be me, be you. Do your own thing, and like be your own Spider-Man. And it's like that's a great thing. Like, I love the message of Miles' arc from Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, dude, it's cool.
100%. And I think so the reason why they did that well, I think, in that movie is because it started off Peter Parker died in the movie. So Miles had to establish his own identity and be different. Even when they brought in Peter Parker, at that point he had established, I'm not Peter Parker, I'm a different dude. And that's the problem, because a lot of when they do a mantle swap, particularly nowadays with like all new, all different, and what DC is doing right now, which I cannot believe they're doing this, is that they're trying to create, I know their intention is that they're trying to make their characters diverse, because they're operating under the false assertion that these characters have never been diverse. That is demonstrably false. But they're trying to like essentially create like the Black Spider-Man, the bi Superman or something like that. And they don't realize, and the other issue, by the way, is that when they make a diverse version of the character, they make it the most stereotypical version of that character. I mean, you have like Iceman, or we just had the controversy with what if Miles Morales was Thor.
I was just about to bring that up. Like, let's make Asgard the shittiest place ever. Let's make it like the most stereotypical Black Hood ever. Yeah,
and
we're not racist at all.
And let's have him. His battle cry is going to be, "It's hammer time."
Oh yeah, that was brutal
God,
to read that
please,
thing, man.
Where's my 38 special, please?
Yeah, I'm like, what? I'm like, what? Who authorizes this and thinks it's a good idea?
Fucking
well, yeah, it was.
That's who.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it was interesting because a lot of people were calling out the writer for it, but like you guys said, like, where are the editors here? You know, like this has to go through multiple people. Exactly. Like it's a process. Once you write it, it still has to go through multiple different people to actually overlook it, make sure that it's good and fit to print. And no one said anything all the way up to the top. So it's unfortunate also because
that's it's kind of disgusting how the producers obviously saw it and they just remained silent and they let the writer take all the blame. That is it's rather disgusting.
And not only did they probably, see the writer do all this, they probably told the writer, "Hey, we want you to put him in the Bronx of Asgard." You know, they probably gave him writer's notes, which is, obviously worse. But I think a lot of the editors
on the ground. Put graffiti on Mjolnir.
Put sneakers hanging from the power lines.
I think a lot of editors
and sneakers.
I think a lot of the creators over at Marvel and DC, I think that they probably add to or probably tell some of these writers, listen, this is what we need you to do with this character, which is unfortunate because, like you guys said, look at what we got with Miles Morales Thor. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, and it seems that the other issue, by the way, is when they pass the mantle, fine. But then they also make that character like completely unlikable. So then it's kind of sullies the reputation of the mantle. Like, look at John Kent's Superman. It's like, okay, so they basically made him a despot, which according to DC editorial, that was the original plan before they made it so they can't make him bad at all, even though arguably they're still making him evil. Which that would have been a fantastic storyline. Clark Kent comes home from Warworld and finds his sons ruling Earth like in Justice Superman. That would have been a fantastic storyline.
That would have been wild.
You see, that actually was interesting. So thus the DC editorial be like, oh, we can't have interesting. We can't have good stories here. We can't. Destroy it. Make him gay. Make him date a femboy twink. I don't care. Make it as dull as possible. We can't have interesting stories.
Make him a pacifist, even though he's supposed to be a superhero.
Have him do a climate change protest. Meanwhile, there's a monster in the background. Yeah, that'll be fine.
But yeah, and it gets onto, or what they'll also do is they'll change the character's lore to fit in the mantle swap. Like, and Max knows this very well, the Jane Foster Thor thing where they made Thor a mantle. Even though, as Nick has said multiple times, even the Hammer says, if they be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor. Not become Thor, have the power of Thor. So
yeah, it's
like, honestly, just give Jane Foster the power of love and be done with it. It's the power of love.
It's like Jared, if I were to take like some glasses and I put glasses on and I said, I now have the power of Jared. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't like your name is not a mantle. Your name is who you are, you know, and
somehow
Thor is
Palpatine
who Thor
returned.
is.
And somehow
Somehow
Palpatine.
Palpatine returned.
Yeah.
Well, only put this way, Jason Aaron is not exactly known for handling characters well. I mean, his She-Hulk, and as you know very well, Max, his Punisher run isn't exactly treating the character with respect.
Oh
So
God, dude, yeah. Yeah, he's gone through now Thor, She-Hulk, and Punisher. And I
mean, at
think
this
now
point,
yeah.
Punisher is just there to give a middle finger to the right, because
Yeah.
they see how much the you know, like people adopted like the Punisher skull. It's like, we're gonna make him gay. We're gonna change the symbol. Like we want all these people who like the symbol to be like,
But we don't
You know what's
realize that there's plenty of back issues that we can read of him murdering people, so we're good.
Yeah, I'll just read like Chuck Dixon or Mike Barron's run, you know, when he was actually good.
Yeah. You know what's funny though too is like even if they did make him a different race or a different sexuality or even a different gender or something, yes, it wouldn't be canonical and it would you know be weird for the actual character Frank Castle. But as we've seen with the Rippaverse as of late, even if you have a main character who is a female and a main character who is a different race, it sells. It will still sell, and that's what people don't understand. Is like they, yeah, 2 million.
You could say he really ripped it up.
Yeah, 2 million, and it's only been a few days. I mean, we're talking. We haven't even hit
I
one.
mean,
full
God
week.
bless that man. Can we just like say God bless that man?
Oh, I will.
Absolutely.
He will be
I'm so
featured
happy
on an
for him.
Indie Wednesday. I will make sure to review that book on an Indie Wednesday.
You dang well better.
Yeah, it'll be a cool. That'd be a great episode. Which, by the way, Jared, I did. You spoke about it earlier. I did appreciate your talk, your video that you did with John Kent and pacifism, because I think that being a superhero, you don't necessarily. What's going on, Zach? It's good to see you, brother. You don't necessarily have to be. I think you can have a like pacifist. I don't want to say mindset, because you can't, because what you were saying, Jared, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that in order to fight evil, you have to physically, mentally, emotionally, everything fight against evil.
Yeah,
and evil is out there.
Inevitably, you're gonna get into a situation where you have to fight. But the problem with making a superhero pacifist is that then they're not willing to go that step. Because
correct,
I think we can agree as Superman fans, Superman does not go out looking for a fight. He's
Exactly.
gonna
There's ways to write pacifism and have it be work. The finale of Avatar: The Last Airbender is perfect. Rant incoming.
Yes.
All right. I got to rant about this. So if you don't know, the finale of Avatar, they want him to kill the Fire Lord. Okay. So, and the thing is, Fire Lord is basically Hitler. Hitler played by Mark Hamill, so that's pretty accurate. But anyway, like his past lives are telling him kill the Fire Lord, and he's like, no, I'm a airbender. I don't take lies, you know. And so what he does is he finds an option 3. The Lion Turtle gives him the option for energy bending, and literally, what they say, in order to bend someone else's spirit, your own must be unbendable. So he has to be so committed to his pacifism that it has to be unwielding. And so in the finale, literally he's in the Avatar state and he's about to kill the Fire Lord. He stops himself. And so what he does is he basically energy bends and he takes the Fire Lord's bending away. So it's like he takes away his ability to fight. And so Avatar Aang did not betray his principles, did not betray his thing. And that's how you write a passive protagonist, and freaking credits.
Well, yeah, and also, when I was watching, when I was making the video, Max, the one thing that kept playing in my head was that panel where John Kent is basically blasting Superman and saying, "Why don't you do more?" And then Clark Kent, and this shows how much of an idiot Tom Taylor is when it comes to in continuity storylines.
He goes, Superman 4?
He tells John Kent, "You could be a better Superman than I ever could be." And I'm like, wait a second. I get that you want to hold up your kids, but don't lie to the kid. Because here's the thing. Like I said in the video, Superman's not going to look for a fight. He's not going to go, you know what? I want to go punch someone in the face today. He's going to try everything he can to avoid a fight. But Superman recognizes that at a certain point, I have to go hands-on and decide, okay, I have to end this quick or people are going to die. That's why he's a superhero.
Man of Steel is a perfect example of that situation.
And that's why...
Like we were talking about it on stream the other day, you and I, where it's like, the whole thing is like, please don't do it, please don't do it. And he's like, I'm not going to stop, not going to stop. And so he had no choice but to snap Zod's neck. And it killed him inside, you know? Like,
and he screamed. But it's like, it's also, that's why I have no confidence in the new Justice League they formed, because first off, it's a really crappy lineup if you look at it. Even Black Adam, the funniest part of that is John Kent's so proud. He presents his Justice League and Black Adam goes item by item and goes, why do you need 2 Blue Beetles? This is a horrible lineup. Why is Harley Quinn on the Justice League? And he goes, you don't even have a Batman. What I love is the Wonder Woman and Batman of that are left, Yara Flora and Jace Fox, I think. They both go, no, we're not doing the Justice League.
League? More like Diversity League, am I right?
Nice.
It's almost as if Black Adam were speaking as all of the readers. You know, like reading the comic book, if Black Adam was just portraying what the reader is thinking, like, why do we need 2 Harley Quinn? And then you read Black Adam and you go, oh, he's actually saying what I'm thinking right now.
And what's hilarious,
the only one.
They're bringing the Justice League back to where they were pre-Grant Morrison, because remember, pre-Grant Morrison, the Justice League was like the biggest D-tier team ever. You had like Fire, Ice, Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, and Guy Gardner, and he wasn't even a Lantern Corps. And then Grant Morrison was like, why aren't our top heroes on the Justice League?
Wait, are you talking like that, the Superman era Justice League?
Yeah.
Wow, that's going really back.
Yeah, and there's a reason why the founding members of the Justice League and the ones that people actually care about has not changed.
I mean, it's like, okay, sure, they made Cyborg a Justice League member, but like his power set is actually really unique, and it actually works in a Justice League concept. So making him a Justice Leaguer, you know, because like he was a Teen Titan, and you know, I think it's not like he's not the first Teen Titan to graduate to the Justice League. Wally West.
That's
amazing. Wally West
that actually worked really well.
Was Kid Flash, and then when he became Flash, he became a Justice Leaguer, you know.
Now, before I move on, I want to go around the panel. I'll start with you, Max. What Mantle swap do you think happened in, like, let's say 10 years, or is it 10 to 20 years? Do you think actually worked?
I'll go first.
Oh,
sorry. Oh, no. Okay, go. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I got my Max first.
That's actually a really good question, man. And I'd have to think about it because is drag queen first. Thanks, Kyle.
I'm not paying the bill, by the way. I'm not paying that bill.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
If you actually, if you want, Jared, if you want Nick to go first, because I might actually have to think about this one, man. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I got
the different Mantle swaps. But
all right, Nick, go ahead. Hey, what's up? It's Tehillim.
Because about in the late 2000s, you had the Battle for the Cowl storyline, where like Batman dies, and like at first, yeah, exactly. And you had the whole Battle for the Cowl storyline, where they wanted Dick Grayson to become Batman, and let's be honest, it wouldn't be the first time Dick Grayson became Batman, but like I like how he didn't want to at first. And so you had the Arkham Knight, but not Arkham Knight, you know, kind of thing. Like seriously, like the whole Batman thing in there is basically Arkham Knight 10 years prior. But what I like about it is Jason Todd was like, "F this, I'm going to become Batman," and so he's Batman for a little bit. And the storyline ends where Dick Grayson is Batman and Damian is Robin, and then you have that status quo for about 2 years. They actually let that actually breathe. They actually give time for those storylines that gestate. Like, I actually think those 2 years in between Battle for the Cowl and Flashpoint are really interesting, because like the Red Robin series is really interesting because you got like Tim Drake going across Europe looking for Bruce, and like Ra's al Ghul is helping him, and at one point Ra's al Ghul refers to Tim as detective, which is like a huge mark of respect. Then you got like Stephanie Brown as Batgirl, which is a really interesting way for her character to go, because like Stephanie Brown is like DC Universe's punching bag. Like she was Robin for a short time, and like Dan Dito has like this hate boner for Stephanie Brown.
It seems anyone that lost their parents at age 8, Batman's like, come over here. I have a nice suit all waiting for you.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the meme. But like, I feel like the Batman mantle is something like it's already been established that like it can pass around with those who be worthy. Like, because that's the whole point of the Nightfall saga is like Batman passes the mantle to Azrael. He himself has to earn the mantle of Batman back. You know, so I feel like the mantle of the Bat is something that you can pass down, but only to the right people. And as far as people who are worthy, there's only 3 people: Dick Grayson, of course, Tim Drake, and then Damian.
That actually works.
Those are some good points, man. I think for me, and you guys can tell me if this is like if this counts or not, but I think the 2 biggest ones that I would say are my favorite or have been done well. And granted, this supersedes, Jared, the 10-year thing
That's
that you
fine.
had,
That's fine. Go ahead.
whatever. Because I couldn't think of one. But if you want to call it a mantle swap, you could technically say Beta Ray Bill for Thor. And
Yes.
you could technically say John Stewart for Green Lantern. But the only thing with the Green Lantern Corps is that when they're a core, and if John Stewart had taken the mantle of Hal Jordan, like if people called him, "Oh, you're the new Hal Jordan," that you see how like weird that sounds.
I mean,
whereas
Hal
he's just
Jordan is
another...
the original Green Lantern. Alan Scott was the original Green Lantern. Same thing with the Flash. Garrick was the original Flash. Barry isn't the original Flash. Like even Barry and Hal are just mantle swaps in them themselves.
And like I said, mantle swap may be like a term or a coined term that doesn't fit the Green Lantern Corps or the Flashpoint universe, because
Flash
as far as like
Flash is like a singular
Okay.
superhero.
That's true. Whereas like the Green Lantern Corps, I think of as the galactic military or the galactic police
They're
force.
space cops.
So yeah, so like Hal Jordan is the
You got a
space
license
sector,
for that ray gun?
right? The Lantern Corps is basically a space army where like Hal has
Don't you disgrace
space
my beloved Space Corps.
has space sector 2814, which is Earth. And then John Stewart will have 2814. You know, it's their sector, and they all are Green Lanterns, but they all like have different.
I think Max froze.
Yeah, like and like Green like kind of expand upon what he's saying. Like, the Green Lantern Corps is like that's like I think it's like especially for like expanding the mantle, and I'm using expansion rather than replacing because. Because like you could have multiple Green Lanterns. That's why we had like the addition of Jessica Cruz.
And then, thank you for mentioning Jake Cruz.
And so it's like you could have like you want a new diverse character, you could have him be a Green Lantern.
Hey, there he is. He's back.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
I think
it's okay. I was able to fill the void. I filled the void.
Oh, thank you.
I give the void back to you.
Thank you. Well, before my brief leave of absence. I would say those 2. I think Beta Ray Bill was extremely well done and was very well taken care of with Walt Simonson's run. Whereas it's, the great thing about Beta Ray Bill, though, is that he's known as Beta Ray Bill. He's not known as Thor. Yeah. So even though he still has the similar armor, similar hammer, I guess, I don't know. It's tricky. But
oh boy.
So I'd say those.
Someone's firing shots.
Oh, interesting. I don't know if I would necessarily agree, but
I have 2, and mine are relatively modern. And Nick kind of mentioned her already, and that's Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern. I just started reading this.
Okay.
It is fantastic because what they did is, so for like the longest time after she got the lantern ring, she couldn't make a construct, and she thought it was because she was so afraid because she was agoraphobic. Then when she finally made a construct, her willpower surges, and any Green Lantern fan knows that when the willpower surges, you pretty much become nigh unbeatable, and she pretty much solos Atrocitus. And at this point,
Man,
I'm like,
that's a
okay,
flex. That is a flex.
Yeah.
And I think what they did with J. Cruz is that they gave her a vice that contradicts her superhero like
You're
mantle.
telling me they actually use writing talent to create interesting stories and characters? Oh my god!
Well, you know who invented her is Jeff Johns and Ethan Van Sciver, so there's talent for you. But it's like they made a compelling. They figured out a way to make her not just another Green Lantern. Because what's the one thing Green Lanterns are supposed to do? Overcome fear. She constantly does it every single time she leaves her house.
See, that's just good writing.
And then my second one comes from Marvel. And this one is when Bucky Barnes took over as Captain America.
Oh, when Cap used the gun?
Yeah, the time gun is used to send Cap through space. What I like about that is that he used the Captain America mantle as a redemption story for his time as the Winter Soldier. That's why I wish they would do it in the MCU instead of Sam Wilson, because it's really like, because when you look at, they kind of did in the MCU, but they didn't do it to that degree, because remember, he was constantly trying to earn the public's like acceptance, particularly after he got out as the Winter Soldier, than the other superheroes, and he constantly has to like deal with that with his past. And can I really be redeemed? Am I worthy of holding that shield? Where nowadays, if they did a mantle swap, the superhero that got the shield would be like, I am so worthy of this. I am the best. In other words, they don't have the doubt, am I worthy of this? You don't have John Kent going, am I worthy to carry on my father's legacy? You know what I mean?
I will say the way they handled U.S. Agent and Falcon and Winter Soldier was actually pretty cool. Like, I like how they handled that character. They made Battlestar dirty, but, whatever.
I think the other thing that's important to note is that when these mantle swaps happen, I think what it does is it almost like delineates and it diminishes the actual mantle that it's being taken from. So like with Captain America, if it were done sparingly, or if it were done with Bucky, like that one Ed Brubaker one.
There is Max again.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna fill the. All right,
in the meantime, the reason I bring them up as expendable replaceable is that soldiers sent to die on missions they aren't expected to come back from. Not all the time. And if they come back alive, they live for another missions. Yes, soldiers have changed throughout the years along with their training. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
And then like as far as like mantle swaps being sparingly, I think that's why the Batman mantle swaps work, because they've only they've done it twice in 20 years, and it's like sure, Batman comes back after a little while, but like it's always a special event, like Nightfall and then Battle for the Cowl, and it's every time they've done. And the storyline of Azrael being the wrong choice and having to earn it back, and then Dick Grayson, yeah, of course he's worthy of being Batman,
And then remember also, what did they do in Nightfall? You constantly saw Bruce Wayne healing and on the road to recovery, so they constantly let you know that this is just temporary. He's coming back.
Yeah,
he's coming back, just like Max's internet.
I am so sorry, guys. This is so weird. I don't
good.
know why it's being so odd tonight, but yes.
The internet is mad that we're speaking our minds.
Yeah, exactly.
No, hey, I you know what? Maybe I should just leave because you guys are actually speaking a lot of truth. So maybe
no. Don't go anywhere.
No, it's you class up. Your good looks actually make us legitimate.
And go back to what we're talking about. Yes, that's true. We need that MVP-ness. But anyway, back to what we were talking about.
Okay, let's get a little spicy here.
That's a joke on his channel. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But I think the common thread we need is actually talented writers that know how to actually do this well. Because yes, a mantle swap is really gutsy.
Hello, Ethan Van Sciver. Could you come back to DC, please?
Can you imagine the Twitter if Ethan Van Sciver said he was coming back to write like Superman?
I mean, is Zab's lost in charge, so anything's possible. But like, if DC really wanted to make a statement, they team up Jeff Johns with Ethan Van Sciver for another Green Lantern run. That would make a statement.
I was going to say, to be fair, if Ethan did come back and write anyone or come back in any shape or form to DC or Marvel, I actually don't want him to write. I think he's a much better artist, and so I would just want him to
pair him up with Jeff Johns again.
Like, for Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I think doesn't he only have good things to say about Jeff Johns? Like he actually thinks highly of him. So like, I think he probably would work with Jeff Johns again.
But so 100% he would, and that would be the biggest dream team, and it would make
Jeff Johns writing Cyberfrog.
it would make Max and I, as Green Lantern fans, cry tears of joy because of how they've been abused recently. But it's
that'd be amazing.
But I just want Ethan to come back, and then like in one of the wide shots of the Green Lantern, he just puts in Cyberfrog and gives him like a Green Lantern ring. Like he just kind of slips it in there, and people are so mad because Cyberfrog.
I'm angry. I'm really mad at Jeff Johns, and Max knows what I'm talking about from when we did our first episode, because you had Blackest Night. All these superheroes are getting rings, but Superman does not get a Blue Lantern ring. What? Yeah, he means hope.
Yeah, he is the symbol of hope. That was a little, unfortunate.
No, I think Wonder Woman would be Star Sapphire, because like Wonder Woman.
She was Star Sapphire.
Oh, okay.
And her costume was pretty dope. A lot of those costumes are actually really cool, but I love when the Sinestro Corps first shows up. It shows up with Batman. He's just like swinging, then all of a sudden the ring shows up and grabs him, but since he had exposure to Green Lantern energy, it leaves. And then even Batman's like, the hell just happened? It was so good.
I remember hearing stories of like Ethan calling Jeff like at 2 a.m. in the morning, and he'd be like, what is it? And he'd be like, okay, so I have another idea. I have this thing where, what if you have an orange ring and it's just owned by one guy, and like they would just exchange ideas.
What's
about
mine is mine.
Yeah, exactly.
The lantern hope is just mine.
Yeah. Larfleeze is just he's a nut, and so
I love
with
the
all
Red
that stuff, I
Lantern.
think it's great.
Like, I'm sorry, but like Dexstar is like one of my favorite.
The Red Lantern cat.
So awesome.
I have him in the Lego game.
Have you seen his origin story? It is so sad.
Yeah, it is.
It is really sad.
So,
like I love Dexstar as a character. Just the concept of a Red Lantern cat, because like it pukes blood on people, like it just like acidic hairballs. It's so ridiculous. It looks right around it being awesome.
Here's an EVS story for you guys. I know Nick's heard this because I said it on his stream, but so when he was doing X-Men, his editors were really like a-holes to him, so he wanted to play a prank on him.
Story.
So what he did, and Ethan, in collaboration with his inker and colorist, hit the word sex on every single page of the comic book.
He went full Lion King on the butt.
And then,
oh my god,
what he did is he even got like praised by Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison was like, "Why didn't you tell me you were doing this? This is a fantastic idea." And then, to add insult to injury, Ethan anonymously called Wizard Magazine and went, "If you look at this page, and this panel, there's the word sex on it," and it was a huge scandal.
Wow!
And the editors got fired because, again, why didn't you catch that?
Yeah,
but I will say this: those were some of the sexiest pages DC's ever made. Sorry, the joke was there, low-hanging fruit.
But so now I want to transition to, by the way, so what do you guys think is the worst Mantle swap? Because I don't think Miles was, but honestly, who?
Thor.
Well, yeah, probably Thor. Thor's one of them.
Makes no bloody sense.
Yeah, probably. I would say either Thor or probably Riri Williams Ironheart, because again, there was no, because first off,
Rhodey exists. Like, why don't you just have Rhodey? Like, Rhodey has been Iron Man. Like,
and
if you want a black Iron Man, Rhodey standing right there.
And if you wanted a black female Iron Man, a Iron Girl, if you will, Rhodey has a daughter that was groomed to be Iron Man. So the only reason why Bendis created Riri is for those residual checks, brothers.
I'm sorry, but Riri is so stupid. Like, she
No
bullied
one
her
likes
teacher
her,
into
too.
oppressing. She bullied her teacher into oppressing her just so they can, blah blah. It's just so stupid.
Isn't it kind of funny how most of the time when Bendis tries to make a new character, he makes the most unlikable character?
I heard the Naomi run was fine. Like, I think so, there were people who enjoyed Naomi, but the Naomi show I just heard was awful.
One season.
But then again,
That's the first CW show to not make it to 2. And by the way, Naomi had no business being on the Justice League.
Like, why aren't they pushing Vixen more? They had her in the Arrowverse. Like,
and
I'm glad
Vixen was on the League.
Like what I'm saying is, like, it's like we keep saying, like, you have so many great like black characters, and they finally bring an interesting black character who has a cool power set, and they even like put her in the animated series, and then she gets Arrowverse and Legends of Tomorrow, and like, why don't you give her a series? Because like, and I also got to say this because she's a Detroit superhero. As a Michigan person, I gotta rep my local heroes. I would love to see a Vixen series in Detroit, like, Michigan.
I think they had a Justice League of Detroit series a long time ago.
Well, they did an animated Vixen thing with like Flash and Arrow, which was actually set in Detroit. Which, yeah, that's cool. But like, I want like a live action Vixen series. Oh, and it's like in the Titan series that's partially set in Michigan because like Dick Grayson is a Detroit cop in that one, and then like Raven is hiding up in Traverse City. So it's like, that's cool. I'm getting my Michigan shout outs, but
Heck yeah. So Max, what do you think is the worst Mantle swap they've done? Is it Thor?
Ooh, Thor, Riri, those are both really compelling arguments. I would even maybe say X-23, because like X-23, because she's calling herself Wolverine.
Yeah.
And there's no other, like, what? Like, Wolverine is Weapon X.
I like X-23 as X-23. Like, that's
or
actually kind
they
of
could call her Raptor
right.
Because she has blades on the foot, so they could call her Raptor.
I do like her as X-23.
Brad shows up, I'm walking out.
but not Wolverine. You know what I mean? Like, she's, because there was a variant cover of a X-Men or a Wolverine issue or something, and it's like a newspaper, and the newspaper says like X-23 is now Wolverine, or Laura is now Wolverine, or something like that. And I was just like, man, Marvel keeps wanting to name these characters who already have mantles, Falcon, X-23, Iron Man, into these new or Ironheart or whatever, into these like, oh no, we want them to be Iron Man, we want them to be Wolverine, we want them to be Captain America.
Because those names are iconic, and instead of putting in the work to build up these characters, it's like for example, DC, they have all those milestone characters. The only one they do stuff with is Static,
right?
And it's like they could, like, Rocket. I keep coming back to Rocket. Like, Rocket deserves to be more popular because she's actually an interesting character. Like you want an Iron Man character that's like technical. Like, Rocket does that so well. Like, Rocket does like the whole I'm technically smart and I'm good with machines, but she's still a likable character.
And from Icon and Rocket, like the duo team.
I think so. Yeah,
because I think
Rocket,
there was
because Rocket's in Young Justice, and that's like when most of my exposures were.
Okay. Yeah, because I think there was a recent comic series that was called Icon and Rocket from DC.
Yeah, there was.
Okay.
They are kind of doing a milestone initiative. So I'll give them some credit.
Which is great. So they're actually putting their money where their mouth is. But let me tell you what I would have done. Here's how Jared would have handled all this stuff. If you want more of a diverse lineup, and you don't have to replace the characters, what they should have done, the all new, all different initiative, is just change up the roster of the Avengers. Have Falcon instead of Captain America. In other words, instead of changing the mantles, just put the people that correspond to what you want. Just put them on the team. These teams are designed to be interchangeable.
You mean what they were trying to do at the end of Age of Ultron?
Yeah, kind of. But I understand partly why they didn't do that, because a lot of these characters don't have the draw of, okay, Captain America, Iron Man. But when you handle it so poorly, here's another one I think was horrible. Totally Awesome Hulk. Because the idea of the Hulk is it's supposed to be like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing, and the person is not supposed to like being the Hulk.
The thing is, it's not that hard to build up these characters. What you do is you feature them in a popular book. Like, for example, have Icon team up with Superman. Like, not have them fight, but just have them team up. Like, do a mini-series with Icon and Superman where they're teaming up. You know, like, or just throw Steel in the mix or something. You know, whatever. You know,
or have Captain
have
America
Rocket join the team. Or put him on a team book. Like, the reason why Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle is popular is because they heavily featured him on like Teen Titans and Young Justice. He got a legitimate push, and now he's getting his own movie with Cobra Kai Zolo. I'm saying this as I'm wearing a Cobra Kai t-shirt right now. So it's like,
and the suit looks dope.
Yeah.
I'd kind of I'd relate it kind of like this, because
another Mantle flop done right.
Yeah, that too.
Oh. I'd kind of relate it back to this, is like I'm really into like heavy metal and live music and bands and stuff. So I remember going to either Coheed and Cambria concerts or like an As I Lay Dying or a Tool concert, and you're there to see the headliner, you know. So in this case, it would be like Superman or Batman or Green Lantern or Wonder Woman. But before then, you have those opening acts that are bands that maybe you've either never heard of, or bands that you have heard of, but they're just, you know, smaller in scale. So, but when you go to the show and you watch those bands before the main headliner, their star power is based off of their performance and how well they engage with the audience. And like, so there are bands that I had never heard of before that I saw before the main event, and I was like, whoa, these guys are awesome. And then I went home and I checked them out myself, and I started listening to their music. Comics can do the same exact thing. Bring them in with your headliners, like you said, you know, the Superman story or the Superman comic. Have him teaming up with other characters, like your opening acts, if you will, for a concert. And then you have people being introduced to these characters, and they're like, I really like this guy. We should either get a solo series from him, or I'm going to go back and read his back issues and listen to his music. If you know, in that same
that's exactly
metaphor.
What they did with Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle. That's exactly what they did. It took a little bit. It took about 10 years for him to really catch on, but like now, like he's really cool. Like they put him in video games. Like he's in Injustice. But what I really like about the because like Blue Beetle is like another Mantle swap done right that I think kind of we deserve to talk about. Where like. His power set is like actually different from the other kind of Blue Beetles.
Yeah, sure.
And like I feel like he's kind of carved out his own place. And you know, I actually really like Jaime Reyes, and I really like his power set.
Daryl Taylor makes up a good point. Why the hell would you replace the X-Men with the Inhumans? We all know how that turned out. And what's kind of funny is I'm just going to go ahead and spoil the Ms. Marvel show, because I get the feeling none of you guys have any desire to see the show. I saw it. It started out pretty good, then got bad. But so they made her the MCU's first mutant. So I love how now they're replacing the Inhumans with the mutants. It's in reverse now with the MCU.
It's so cringe. And then like the original author be like, oh, I actually wanted her to be a mutant, like somehow
sure
that
legitimizes
it. Like, yeah, exactly.
Sure
exactly.
You did.
That was exactly my reaction.
Sure you did.
Like,
but
you
yeah,
said that as soon as the check from Disney cleared. As soon as the check cleared, you sent out the tweet.
Quick, say you've always wanted this.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
that's another Mantle swap, actually, because she's like part of a double Mantle swap. Because remember, you already had Captain Marvel, who, by the way, I have a single issue of his comic book that I picked up at a con. I love it. But
wait, Marvel? Who's that?
Marvel, Mar-Vel. And by the way, in the movie, he was gender bent. So he died, and then there was no Captain Marvel for like years. And then Carol took over, and then we all know what happens with
realized, holy crap, we got to make sure that DC can't use Captain Marvel for their Shazam character.
And we have to make sure we have a Wonder Woman because we sold the rights to all of our famous female characters like idiots. And then Ms. Marvel took over Kamala Khan took over as Ms. Marvel, which is hilarious.
It's like there are like 10 different levels of a derivative because, like you said, I think it started with Marvel, and then it was like Captain Marvel, and then Miss Marvel, and then it was just it was just all these different iterations, and there's so
really
many.
Crazy
I don't remember
how recent the Carol Danvers Captain Marvel is, because like
you
have like Avengers cartoons like Earth Mightiest Heroes, from like the mid to late 2000s.
And she's Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel, like that redesign where the black suit that was actually like early 2000s. Like
that was kind of funny.
And that iteration was actually starting to catch steam. Like that version was actually starting to catch on. Like people were actually liking that version.
And what's funny is that I love how they tried to push her for the Wonder Woman. And what's kind of interesting is that if you look at her comic book history, she doesn't exactly have the most honorable comic book history, especially if you read Avengers 200, where okay. So have any of you guys read Avengers 200?
All I know is how poor her actions were during Civil War II.
All right. So what happens in this one is, okay, so we have this being named Marcus. He wants to get out of this parallel dimension. So he realizes he has to be born in order to escape the other dimension. So he kidnaps Carol Danvers, seduces her, conceives himself with her, and then she gives birth in the main Marvel universe. I'm like, what the heck? Oh, by the way, yes, she was a million times better. But I showed my friend Tyler, like, without any context, because he's not as into comic books as we are. Without any context, I showed him a picture of Carol Danvers, Ms. Marvel, and he's like, yeah, I like her way better than Captain Marvel. Because if you notice, also, they drew her like a dude.
Which one? Black suit or the new
Captain Marvel? They drew
Captain
Marvel like a dude. Back then, they actually drew her like a woman that your audience wants. So I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I feel like a woman.
And plus also, she was actually likable back then. It's like I play Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and she's actually really cool. Where nowadays, it's like, no, because here's the thing, they made it so like she's the best, she's the greatest hero. That's the other thing they do with mantle swaps. They have to make the person they swap to, without earning it, the best. And by Nick is sharing screen of yes, even the black.
Seriously, this suit, it looks really good. Also, hello.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah. You know why they changed it is because they didn't want to like encourage toxic masculinity, which Max and I can go on for an entire rant about that.
I mean, the suit is really not that bad. It's basically a one-piece swimsuit. Like,
it's seriously. Wonder Woman. It's the closest thing they have to Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Wonder Woman's suit is not far off from this.
Although it's kind of funny, by the way. So one of the professionals I met at the con was David Finch. He did like a lot of work on like Ultimatum and stuff. I asked him because he signed my trade of Wonder Woman when she got the red suit, and I asked him, so what was the inspiration for this? He's like, well, DC came to me and said we needed her to be completely covered. And what's hilarious, it lasted for like 2 issues, because in this trade, at the very last issue, she's back in the normal costume.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That kind of reminds me of like that failed Wonder Woman pilot with like the girl from the Orville. It's like there's the things like pants need to be darker. Like they put her in pants for that one.
Oh, also, yeah, she was connected to Rogue too. They even showed that in the X-Men animated series, where the reason why Rogue can fly and has super strength is because she took Ms. Marvel's powers.
Yeah, that's a good point that you were bringing up, though, Jared. Is like I feel like whenever these mantle swaps happen, they wouldn't be as disrespectful if they didn't make it seem like, hey, we're giving the old mantle to this new one, but this new one is way better, and they're going to crap on the old one and say that the last one didn't do as good of a job, so we're going to do better. And that's what's really frustrating, is like someone comes in and says, well, that Steve Rogers guy wasn't getting the job done, so it's up to me to fix it. And it's like, dude, you're just crapping on decades of history of Captain America doing great deeds and like really moral and heroic acts.
Yeah,
So.
Nick, I'm hovering over that ban button because you just dropped a Hail Hydra. But also,
I was trying to say it ironically.
Here's what I ask people. Here's what I ask people. Okay, so your version of Superman is the best. Did your version of Superman like save the multiverse many times? There's a reason why Clark Kent has endured as Superman and why they always have to go back to these versions of the characters. By the way, speaking of mantle swaps, you know what's the most funny? The way that they did All New, All Different right when the MCU started to get like popular. So you'd be like, okay, I just saw Thor. I want to go see it. I want to go buy some Thor comics. You show up there, it's Jane Foster.
Right.
They lost so many potential customers because of that.
Yeah. They even did that with Doctor Strange when Multiverse of Madness came out.
Yeah,
it was his wife. Yeah,
Clea.
that was Doctor Strange in the comics. And
they're literally setting up for Charlize Theron to take over. You know, like spoiler alert. I mean, it's Charlize Theron popped up in the mid credits, and that character actually takes over the Sword Supreme in the comics. So they're not even trying to hide what they're.
I didn't know who she was in the movie when I saw that scene. I just thought, oh, it's Charlize Theron. Who the hell is she playing? And then I was like, oh, okay, she's playing Clea.
Like I like Charlize Theron. Like actually, at her, like I have no opposition to her being like a Doctor Strange character, but knowing that her character takes over, it just kind of makes me mad.
Now, the way I want to pivot this, speaking of the MCU, actually, is that I think that in addition to the MCU films going down in quality, whether or not it's VFX or story quality, I think that we're seeing what happened with the All New, All Different. In other words, the lack of interest, except now we're seeing it for the MCU.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because
I mean, there's definitely been. Oh, I was just going to say there's definitely been a decline. I mean, no one's been talking about Thor: Love and Thunder like ticket sales or revenue from that, as opposed to Multiverse of Madness. Like, everyone was discussing: is this going to hit 1 million or 1 billion, or is this going to drop off on the second weekend and stuff? I haven't heard any of that talk for Thor: Love and Thunder because. I don't know, people just watched it and then they were like, yeah, I'm kind of out. And I think a lot of people after seeing Multiverse of Madness were like, I just don't care anymore. I don't know, but it's a definitely a good point that I've been noticing.
Here's the funny part. There were plenty of articles now coming out, and Nick is sharing the article that I just thought of. Literally just thought of this.
Oh my God.
Now Max, this is a mainstream opinion now.
I mean,
wow.
Screen Rant is kind of trash, but still, I'll take it.
But here's the thing. The very fact that you have mainstream articles saying it's okay to hate the MCU now, that's a big problem here.
Well, I mean, it's frustrating because we've been trying to say that we want quality material. We're not trying to hate on this stuff just to be haters. We're not trying to call this stuff out just to
we love this stuff.
Yeah, just to be, hate mongers or anything. It's because we want the best for these heroes.
Ironmongers, that's what we are.
But Tevya, the difference is that they made it an alternate Earth for Val-Zod, and there was no Clark Kent. Or what they did, there was a Clark Kent, but they killed him. So someone naturally had to take over, and they figured out a good way to do it. And by the way, that's the other weird thing. Apparently, Tom Taylor can write fantastic Elseworld storylines, but when you try and ask him to write an in-continuity storyline, that's like trying to ask Brian Michael Bendis to not piss people off.
Hey, Jared, I got one from Cinema Blend.
All right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And you notice Cineblend, they're a little bit more legitimate than Screen Rant.
And you notice there's also a bunch of different articles now coming out saying, hey, if they restore the Snyderverse right now, they could really capitalize on people being tired of the MCU.
See, well, the thing is, they keep saying, we're doing Secret Wars, but, like, there's no momentum. Like, and I keep going back to Phase 1, like, they say, oh, Phase 1 was a building phase. But, like, there was still a plot in Phase 1. There's still a through line.
They teased Thanos at the end of Avengers.
But I'm just saying the movies themselves, like Iron Man through Iron Man 2. Like there's a cosmic cube. There was kind of a building. There was kind of momentum. You knew you were where you were going with that phase.
Oh, they'll make her like completely be the best X-Men. They'll make her the founding member of the X-Men. Because you saw how they treated, if how they treated Professor X in the Multiverse of Madness is any indication, this will not go well.
Don't remind me.
It'll have the consistency of a very wet fart.
Oh, and how much you want to bet that in the She-Hulk show, they'll make Hulk an idiot?
I mean, more of an idiot than he already is.
More than they made him, because I can't stand what the MCU did to Hulk after Infinity War.
What sucks is Jennifer Walters' Hulk is actually a really interesting character.
Because guess what? She's the closest thing Marvel really has to Wonder Woman that they had the rights that they could have done. And they didn't. And by the way, yes, I hope that the Ripperverse gets its own film series in a couple of years and Ripper owns. Can you imagine if Young Ripper buys Marvel and DC and then like fires everyone?
No, that's not gonna happen. But like I could actually wouldn't it be crazy if he bought Oni Press? Because they're going up for sale here soon. You know that.
He could have bought the CW because it sold for $0.
Oh,
okay, technically, the people who bought it assumed 100 million of their debt. You know, so like,
but still, money,
you know.
But still, no one was willing to profit off it. They're like, nope, I'm done. Get away.
Now, let me ask you guys this, because I think this is a interesting point that you guys brought up earlier. I think, Jared, you were saying that they should capitalize. The Snyderverse people should probably capitalize on the fact that some of the MCU fans are starting to leave. But do you guys think that that's a superhero fatigue issue or an MCU fatigue issue? Because if it's a superhero,
Spider-Man No Way Home did almost $2 billion at the box office.
And the fact that the articles are saying it's okay to hate Marvel films. Had they said superhero films, then 100% I would be agreeing on that. But no.
And the post Snyderverse films like Aquaman did really well. It's like some of the MCU, some of the Disney Plus shows did actually do decent. Well, yes, that's what I was taking the long way around, but basically,
here's the other problem with the MCU: they're giving us too much. There is such a thing as too much, and they're expecting us to keep track of everything.
I love bacon.
It's like
I love bacon, but if you just shove strip after strip after strip in my mouth, I'll eventually grow to hate it.
It's like essentially when they did like King in Black and tied every single book into King in Black and hid major plot points in most of those tie-ins. You had to buy literally every single book Marvel was putting out.
And that's what they're getting into now. It's I think a lot of the problem with Multiverse of Madness is a lot of it depends on you seeing WandaVision. Like, they didn't properly explain, like, when they say, oh, I'm not here about Westview. People didn't see WandaVision. It's like, what the heck is Westview? Why is Scarlet Witch suddenly a villain? You know?
Oh, and that's the other thing is that they're like, oh, she wasn't really the villain of the movie. I'm like, she murdered people. That's the other thing that they try and do for like female superheroes, it seems, or like characters, is that they make it seem like, oh no, they're not villains. I'm like, well, they're murdered the Illuminati, so
they're misunderstood. You know, it's like if my kids are dead or if my kids die or something, my immediate reaction is just to kill everyone else now because my kids are dead. And it's like,
by their logic, the Punisher is like Superman level of hero.
Can we just take a second to marvel at how stupid the Illuminati is? Like, seriously, Reed Richards is supposed to be the smartest man, not only in his universe, but like in multiverses.
Yeah.
Like, you're not telling me he's like gonna talk to Wanda, and all of a sudden Black Bolt's kind of going, and then Black Bolt just ripped into him. Like, why would you literally tell this person, hey, this person can kill you by using their voice?
The greatest line, the greatest meme I've ever seen is like when it's like what Reed Richards should have done. It's Reed going, Wanda, Black Bolt knows where your children are. You see, you have to lean in because he whispers a lot, and they just
that's pretty funny.
See, here's the thing. I would have loved if he hit her with the voice once, just once.
The thing with that though is Jared is like even if he whispered something to her, even if the voice was able to project at like a minuscule of his power, it would have blasted her to pieces, bro. Like it would
Oh,
have serious
I
because like
got the exact thing.
But before we share that, I saw this other great meme that's Deadpool in there, and then after she kills Black Bolt, Deadpool goes, "You killed Black Bolt, you racist." All right, but yeah, here's the scene.
I can't watch this.
All right,
No, it's the better
what do
version.
you want?
I want my children.
Okay, we can do that for you. Why don't we send you to a universe where you can peacefully live with your children?
But what if my children get sick with an incurable disease? I need the cure from another universe.
That's fine. There are infinite universes. We can send you to a universe where your husband is alive and your children will never get sick.
Would you really do that for me? Thank you so
Psych,
much.
bitch. Black Bolt. Now.
Yeah, exactly. That whole thing could have been avoided like that. He could have said, "I'll send you to this universe." There you go. And Black Bolt, give her a secret code word. Yeah, exactly. Just let me hear it. Let me see her get hit by Black Bolt's voice once.
Black Bolt, like in order, so we can send you to another universe. Black Bolt, can you use your voice to open the portal? Now, stand still, Wanda. He's gonna send you to another universe. You know, he's gonna whisper the magic words.
The best Black Bolt moment, I think, is when he's fighting Hulk in World War Hulk, and Hulk goes, "I didn't come to hear you whisper. I came to hear you scream." It's like, yes. Okay, can we get that for a Hulk movie, please, instead of Hulk in a hoodie?
Also, just imagine if Franklin Richards was in the room.
Oh yeah, well,
did say he had
no.
kids.
So we would go. My son has reality bending powers.
So like, so does Wanda, but like Franklin Richards is so high above anything Wanda can do.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, I think Black Bolt is, you know, his power set has like even been said to like destroy planets. You know what I mean? Like if he screams, like it would be able to destroy a planet, which is pretty freaking rad. So yeah, even if because in that same comic you were talking about, Jared, like Hulk, I'm pretty sure like Hulk's beating him or something.
Should we tell them?
And he goes, he whispers enough, you know, because he's had enough, and he goes enough, and it literally blasts Hulk into like not a different dimension, but like a different part of that planet. And of course Hulk comes back, but yeah, Black Bolt would do some damage.
That was back when we actually had talented writers at Marvel.
So like they mentioned about Dr. Doom, there's rumors that Dr. Doom will be showing up in the new Wakanda Forever.
Which,
if you notice, they dropped the Black Panthers. Did they drop the Black Panther title on it, or it just Wakanda Forever?
It's Wakanda Forever, but
so yeah, it confirmed that it's not a Black Panther movie anymore.
Based upon their first look at Namor, I guarantee you it's going to be the worst version of Doctor Doom we've ever seen. And let me put it this way: I'm no fan of Namor. He annoys the hell out of me, but I still want to see if they're going to put him in a movie. Respect it.
I'm just scared that they're going to throw in Storm.
Oh, they definitely will, and they'll make her super powerful, and she'll be the best because that's the way they have to do this.
To be fair, Storm is an Omega level mutant, so you know.
That's true. But here's the problem, and also go back to they're the best. Remember, in Black Widow, there's a scene where they go to the only male on the cast and go, "You're an idiot." They like berate this dude for hours and hours, and of course the movie made him a joke and made the women the only capable ones. But I'm like, how do you not expect us to say? Guardian? Yeah, Red Guardian. So I'm like, that's the problem. Black Widow's badass enough. You don't have to denigrate the other male character. You don't have to denigrate the male characters.
Yeah, I actually really like Storm. I think her, like when I read her in some of those X-Men books with her and Wolverine, like her and Wolverine have like a great relationship. Storm even becomes the leader of the team at one point, and I never felt like she was. Yeah, oh, absolutely. And that was the thing, is like I never felt like oh, she doesn't deserve this, or oh, she's just snarky. And like, no, she was very competent, she was confident, she was empathetic and caring, but also could like kick your butt if like she needed to. It was great. But yeah, it's unfortunate that if we do get that in this era of MCU, she's gonna act a lot differently.
Yeah,
But
I'm just afraid
unfortunately,
they'll take all the aspects that like like he's a queen. He's
This
powerful,
right here,
he
this
can
right
fight.
here,
Yeah.
this
yeah.
comment right there. As soon
And then, like, honestly, even making Taskmaster, like everything they did about Taskmaster,
had nothing to do with the gender, is why everyone hated it.
Like, it could have worked. Like, I could kind of like the idea of, because like they're doing the whole sex trafficking, mental stuff. Like,
Yeah,
that stuff could have worked. If they just would have made her a character.
but here's the dumb
He's a
part.
plot device.
Here's the dumb
Taskmaster
part.
is a plot device. That's
Yes,
all it is.
and here's the really dumb part. Here's the director's excuse. We couldn't figure out a way to get Taskmaster involved in the Black Widow group if he were not a woman. But I'm like, if you read the comics,
You have Red Guardian in the group.
wait, if you read the comics, you would know that Taskmaster's thing is he trains henchmen. You could make him the instructor of the Black Widow. See, I should write these movies. I do a lot better job than
Like, make it
whoever
a second in command. Like, make it a second in command. Like, literally, like the field officer kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. And
And
Max,
by the way,
I guess I gotta.
Taskmaster should have been Yelena.
That would have been great. Oh man, that would have been
And the whole
dope.
thing is she's trying to get like Taskmaster back to the light and remember all that good stuff. And like you have the third act turn of Taskmaster, and then they go to the fortress and they have like the brother and sister stuff. Bam! I just wrote a better movie.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Before you leave, Max, look at this comment. You ready? Is that I know the source material and the writers don't.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It's like with the Halo writers saying we never played the games, and I'm like, then why are you writing a
Yeah.
Halo show?
Or the Last of Us people saying we never even played the games.
Yeah, I'm like,
Well, that was like. Oh, sorry. I
go
didn't
ahead.
mean to cut you off, bro.
It's just the fact that they're bragging about it that pisses me
Mhm.
off.
Well, yeah, I mean, Taika Waititi has openly said, "Oh, I'll ruin your mythos in a minute, baby." So not only does he not respect it, but he will openly just want to destroy it. So a lot of these creators have that kind of mindset, as they want to take over
honestly,
something good.
Once Taika is done with his usefulness, he's gonna get Me Too. Like honestly, given
Yeah.
how he does himself, I guarantee you he's a sex pest. But because he makes money for Marvel and says the right things, they're covering it up. But as soon as he's not useful anymore, he's gonna get Me Too and he's gonna get out of here.
Exactly.
I guarantee you, he's a sex pest. Like seriously, the way he acts, he's got very Kevin Spacey vibes.
but but on that note, I think that's a good place to leave it here because we had a great discussion on Mantle Swaps, boys. It was a pleasure having you on. You guys are always welcome on Comics League.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was a
I
pleasure to
definitely
be here.
use that
And
privilege.
no, it's always fun talking with you guys, and I think it's a really important topic and something that a lot of people don't really talk about in conversational tones like this. They tend to just yell and scream on Twitter, but I think it's important to have these conversations. So,
How dare you?
How dare you? Yes, you're
How
ruining my
dare
dreams. But yeah, so on that note, everyone, hope you guys enjoyed hearing a logical discussion about mantle swaps. Wait. How would you fix John Kent's Superman situation? De-age him and put him with Damian Kent on the Super Sons. That's all you have to do. That is literally it. Just essentially. And I said before I log off, I will say this one thing: if I ran DC, here's what I would do. I would market it. Bendis is leaving. I know he already left, but that's code for I'm eliminating all traces of Brian Bendis. Everything he's ever done at DC. And then I would market it. I would legit come out in panels and say, yeah, I'm eliminating all traces of Brian Michael Bendis, particularly on Superman. And then at the end of it, I would have some way at the end of the event where they make it so Bendis never worked on DC. I would find some way for one of the characters to say, well, at least we got rid of Bendis.
Like honestly, if we're gonna do like a super children thing, like I want to do like a Wonder Woman Steve Trevor child, like how and also how cool.
Nope, not Wonder Steve Trevor. Nope. It has to be Superman Wonder Woman. Max knows.
Who is John Kent's mother? Is it Lois Lane?
It'd be Lois Lane, but you can still have Wonder Woman. In fact, they did that in Dark Knight in the Dark Knight Returns universe. They have John Kent.
It's just awkward having the daughter or son of Wonder Woman and the Superman killer being half siblings, the different mothers. It's just kind of awkward.
No, what I mean is that what I would have done. The way I would have set up the DC universe, that Superman never got with a Lois Lane. It was all with Wonder Woman because actually, here's an interesting story, and this is all from like secondhand information, so it could be wrong, but not likely. But they planned for the new 52 Superman and Wonder Woman book was they were going to get married, which I think that book would have sold up the yin yang, kind of like the Batman Catwoman wedding if Tom King had not gone Tom King.
Are you saying that book would have sold wonderfully?
Yes, and the new 52 Donna Troy would have been their daughter.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And that's a new way to do it. And they could have again had John Kent, and you would have had could have had the Super Sons book, and still kept.
At least you brought in Donna Troy, so thus I tolerate it.
At least they gave her a solid origin instead of like changing it every like 30 seconds and making it more
all right,
confusing.
Donna, it's been 30 seconds. Time to change your origin.
Hey, Slipknot. Yeah, Donna Troy has more like and like crazy origins than Wonder Woman does, and that says a lot.
Yeah, I like Donna Troy though. Like I actually like her character.
Yeah, she's great. All right, now I'm gonna call it a night. Hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I'll see you guys next Saturday. Stay heroic, everyone. Bye bye.